I guess we're live.
Hey, how about that? It's towards the end of the year by the time this
Right.
drops, and
This is as close as I can get to a Christmas sweater.
I don't have a Christmas sweater on this year, but I have to get one for sure.
Which reminds me, I know that you kind of live up in the mountains, and then you come down from the mountains,
Go into town.
and give us some real estate knowledge, and then go back up.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And so we don't know. We all kind of think that maybe. Do you put out a Christmas tree?
Well, I do, and it's funny because I have an artificial Christmas tree,
Yeah.
and I can't figure out for the life of me why it's losing its needles. So I must have bought it at the wrong store at the wrong time on the wrong sale because
Maybe it's getting old. It's like
It's-
losing your hair.
maybe, yeah.
Well, we got you a Christmas tree back here.
Oh, boy.
Just so you know, I wanted to make sure that you had all your bases covered at the
Oh,
Smith
wow.
homestead.
Nice.
So Costco, pre-lit, pre-decorated Charlie
Perfect.
Brown tree.
Perfect. How can that thank
Enjoy.
you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
enjoy.
Appreciate that.
So, Alan, we're at that time of year where there's kind of good news and bad news on the real estate brokerage side.
Yeah, we get towards the year end. So
Yeah.
what do you see as maybe the bad news?
The bad news is this is the time of year where people start to reevaluate what they're doing, right? And if things aren't working, sometimes they get out of the business completely, which is a heartbreaker for me because usually by the time you're ready to get out of the business, it's generally right when you're almost ready to actually get business going. I tell people all the time, right when you're ready to quit, that's usually when, if you just stick around a little longer.
And we can think of dozens and dozens of brokers that have done that.
Yeah.
They've just stuck it out that much longer, and boom, their business takes off.
Yeah, we have example after example of that. A really great one last year. I don't want to bring his name up, but he had a 1 foot out the door and stuck around, and then boom, things
Yeah.
just took off.
Yeah.
So, and I love seeing that. That is, to me, the most satisfying part of the business is to watch somebody take off, right? And everyone's different. Some people, it comes easier. Some, they get a little lucky, but always hard work is involved, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, the good example of that is you hear about the old mining claims where somebody just gave up their claim because they never struck gold. And
Right.
somebody else comes in behind them, and with just a little bit of effort and a little bit more execution, boom, they hit the mother lode, right?
exactly.
So,
I've seen the graphic. Have you ever seen the meme on that?
no.
It's the little guy in the tunnel, and he's digging the mine, and you can see right at the end of where he's digging, right behind it is a big gold nugget, and he's like, there's nothing here. I'm gonna quit.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
You know?
So that is kind of the good news, but what do
Yeah.
you see as the bad news?
Well, that was the bad news.
Bad news, okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what do we see then as the good news?
Well, the good news is kind of the same thing. This is the time of year where people reevaluate what they're doing,
Right.
And they're like, well, hey, maybe I want to get into real estate.
It's a good time of year to work on your business, not just in your business, and look at your systems that you have in place and really ask yourself, are these maximum, what's the word I'm looking for? Is this giving me my maximum results that I need? Or
Right.
can I tweak something a little bit to get that much better
Right.
at what I'm doing?
And then that's if you're in the business. And we get a lot of people coming from all sorts of different ways of life, right? And that's the fun part is also just kind of transitioning somebody into this business. And so over the years, we've developed through trial and error, right? We've tried a lot of things. We've tried everything, really.
Right.
And we've kind of come up with the best plan to get a new broker going. And we kind of have 6-ish general things that we like to go over and over and over again.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Because we realized by watching other people, by training over the years, I think, Al, we stopped counting in the mid to high hundreds of brokers over 30 years that we've trained.
Yeah, it's probably well over 500, I would think, because
Yeah,
it was in the 200 or 300s back
in the
gosh,
day.
20 years ago. So
Yeah, a lot, right?
yeah, so we learn a lot as we do this as well, and the key things for people to focus on I think just having a little bit of a roadmap, and then ask yourself, if you're going to assess yourself honestly, how do you think you're doing on this?
Yeah. So let me just tell you what the 6 things are. I know you know, but you don't. And then we're going to go over each one, because I think it's important that people stay focused on these things. This is what works.
Right.
We're not going to tell you to do something that doesn't work.
Right.
We kind of know what works and what doesn't work after all these years.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So here's our top 6.
Okay.
The real estate classroom starts after you get your license. That's number 1.
That's number 1. Yep.
Number 2 is you have to build your database like it's your retirement investment, because it is.
Yes.
And we talk about that all the time.
Talk about it
right?
all the time.
You got to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
This is the third one.
Yep.
You can't get new business sitting in the office or at your house.
Right.
You have to be amongst the people,
Yep.
as they would
That's
say.
right. Get out there. Yep.
Like you do when you come down off the mountain.
Yeah, exactly. Go do my rounds in town.
And then once you get out there, you can't be a secret. We call it don't be a secret agent.
Right.
Right? So we're going to talk about that. And then you really have to know your market like the back of your hand.
Yep.
That's the 5th one, and maybe one of the most important ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, here's a big one. Once people get licensed, they tend to, if they're afraid of doing something wrong, they continue to take post-licensing classes instead of getting out into an actual transaction.
Yeah, you can tell when some people, they're just a little gun shy about really engaging and getting out there and now getting to work.
Right.
You know, and figuring this out, because let's face it, everybody learns something in their craft by doing it. You know, there's so much book learning can do. You know, so
it's not a license to hide.
Right,
is what I always
exactly.
like to say.
Yep.
And so we're going to try to talk to you about that, because that's a big one.
Yep.
So let's start with the first one. What are your thoughts?
So that
On
once
the
you
classroom.
get your license, okay, now the state shakes your hand and says, here you go, you can go join a brokerage. Well, now it really begins, because everything you studied in the fundamentals course hasn't prepared you for how to run a successful real estate career and how to do this as a professional, right? What works, what doesn't work, what am I wasting my money on? So it really starts with your post-licensing learning. For example, you know, the state wants us to know that there are 43,560 square feet in an acre.
I'm glad you remember that number, Alan.
Well, I've never had one client ask me in almost 30 years, hey, Al, how many square feet are in an acre, by the way?
Right.
So we need to transition from the book learning to getting out there and what do we do to be successful?
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
it's things like knowing your contracts, knowing the paperwork cold, so that if you need to write up an offer or you get an offer on your listing, you can dissect it and you know exactly whether this is a strong offer or not. And being prepared enough to be able to do that. That takes a little bit of practice, right?
Yeah.
Being skilled in the art of negotiation, just listening, and that usually starts with listening, by the way,
Right.
to the other person. But you know, how well are you at negotiating, or do you view this as an adversarial position with the other broker? Because that's not going to always work. In fact, it very rarely does.
That's old school. That used to be kind of like, I think everyone thought they were in LA law, and they were litigating against each other.
Right.
And over time, people have learned that, hey, you know what? If I actually get along with the other broker and actually I'm easy to work with, I can get way more done, right?
Sure.
Right?
Well,
It's the old flies to honey.
It's a small world. I always say that the broker that you bark at today is the one you need a favor from tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? And so it never fails. So just negotiate well and get along with people, be professional, represent your client well, understand what your representation is. You need to understand the disclosures. You need to understand all the paperwork that's surrounding everything and what good protocol is for showing properties, and you know, all those little things you learn over time, but you can't learn those things just by sitting down and taking another class on title review, which is also important, but you understand what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
classes are important, but you know, getting the real stuff is the most important. And so I always think of it as there's 3 things a new broker really needs to know right away. It's the purchase and sale agreement, you're right, knowing your form's cold, as you said.
Right.
The listing agreements and all the addenda attached to those. And then how to talk about marketing and pricing property.
Right.
So the CMA.
Right.
Those are the three big ones. And until you get those down cold, you're not ready to work with the public.
Right, and that's where the office that you pick, the mentors, if you have a mentor, or just the person that's running the brokerage means everything, right? How accessible are they? How willing are they to sit down and help you learn these things? Or is there somebody in the office that's very good at this thing that would love to take you under their wing and show you what works and what doesn't? It's kind of like a fundamental toolkit. Once you get that done, now you can worry about the design work of your building, right?
Right.
But knowing how to use the saw makes a big difference.
Yeah, and every office has different styles. So that's why I always tell people, go interview with several offices and make sure that you fit.
Right.
Your style matches your office and your office leader's style, because I really encourage people, once they make their decision, stay put and just, the grass isn't greener.
Right.
And flourish where you're at.
Yeah, I always like to start with the paperwork right out of the gate, because I feel that knowing your paperwork cold gives you a sense, it gives you competence, and the more competent you feel, the more confident you feel.
Yeah.
And so learning that right out of the gate, I think, helps a lot.
Yeah, and I tell new brokers, you can do a lot of things as a new broker to outclass your competition, which is other brokers, in a way, right? In a strange way, it is.
Right.
So one of them is just knowing your forms really well, because I can't tell you how many times I've been in negotiations with an experienced broker who doesn't know that the license law changed 2 years ago.
2 years ago, right.
So you can get a leg up right there.
What's this buyer services agreement thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that still happens.
Yeah.
So I think we covered that first part really well. So you need to get in an office with a good training program that matches your style.
Right.
And then just go through that program, right? And get learned up.
Yep, learned up.
As quickly as you can.
But you said something earlier, probably our second little pillar would be database.
Yeah. Okay. So we have an ongoing joke, you and I.
Yes, we do.
For 30 plus years, people have been working on their database.
Working on their database.
Right.
Yep.
Which is really just putting in a name and a number, email address, and that's it. That's really all you got to do.
Yep.
In our company, we have a really robust system in place that we can put those folks into and just do nice little follow-ups.
Sure.
Like, we have a holiday type of program where people get a holiday announcement from their brokers. We have market updates. So we have really great little tools, but it starts with a database, right?
Yeah, and the good news is we're in an industry that everybody likes to talk about. People love to talk about real estate, right? We're not morticians, right?
Yeah.
So they love to talk about real estate. So if you get them in your database and you routinely send them market updates or just seasonal greetings to let them know that you're a real person too. But it's so simple to do these days. All you have to do, every single person you know in your world is in this little box right here. All you have to do is pick a day and say, today I'm going to go through the letter A in my phone.
Right.
I'm going to look through the A's, and I'm going to find everybody that's in here that might like to have a monthly update on the market. And I'm going to put them in my database with their first name, their last name, and their email address, and their phone number. We can build from there, okay? But that's just the basic thing. And then tomorrow do the B's, and the next day do the C's. And think about this. After a 30-day period, you would have your database built, and it would be painless. Now, sometimes you're going to do maybe 2 or 3 letters a day. I don't have a lot of Q's in my phone, right? But the only thing I have is probably Quiznos, but they're not getting anything from me these days.
I mean, a pretty good sandwich.
Yeah, but it's so easy to do, and then just have a system in place, which most good CRM programs can provide, of staying in touch with them. Right. And not hounding them to buy or sell, but just staying in touch so they remember that you're there, that you're alive, and that you're the real estate expert.
Yeah, that's all you're trying to do is stay top of mind, right? So it's really important. We talk about it all the time. It's a running joke. But I tell you what, I wish that I would have started, 30 plus years ago, being very vigilant about putting every possible person that might be interested in talking to me about real estate and past clients into my database.
And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. I would rather have 100 active clients in my database that I'm engaged with on a regular basis, whatever that looks like, than have 1,000 that I bought off an internet lead system that I don't engage with at all and have no clue who I am. That's
those don't count.
think of this as that gold mine we talked about earlier, right?
Right.
Just one little nugget at a time.
Yeah.
One little nugget at a time.
Yeah, you got to start with like I could say it's your Christmas card list, right? Start there and work your way out.
Absolutely.
But always keep that on top of your mind, that I'm always trying to expand my connections,
Right.
and get another contact that I can put in my database.
And then work it like it's a living, breathing
Yeah.
animal.
That's your business right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And that's what'll get you through tough times, to be honest.
In our industry, the percentage, I believe, is in the upper 70s, maybe 80s of people that would use their broker they used before if only they knew how to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
It's not their job to remember my name. It's my job to help them remember my name, right? So that's a truism that's been in this industry for a long, long time. But there's another third pillar. Now, if you got your database, right? You mentioned something earlier about you've just got to take the time to get out in front of people.
You got to get out there as
face to face.
soon as possible, because nothing is better for a new broker than getting an actual live prospect,
Right.
a potential buyer or seller that you have built a relationship with or started to, that wants to do something.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you think back 35 years ago when the first cell phones started coming out, how our communications have changed with other people. We are now in a society where, for example, if I want my kids to respond to me, I text them because I know they're not checking their email and they're certainly not going to take a random phone call out of the blue, right? So, but we tend to rely on text messaging way too much when depending on the conversation that needs to take place, face-to-face might be better. Or just getting out in your community so people know that you're involved in community events and they're the real estate person,
Yeah, I think that's the key.
goes a long way towards being involved and being out in front of people as well.
Yeah,
don't hide.
I'm picking up what you're saying. It's you can't get anywhere sending emails and texts.
Yep.
If you want to have authentic relationships, so you have to get your face in front of other faces,
Right.
and make a human connection.
Yeah,
Right.
and it comes with, you belong to a group of people, maybe you're in a bowling league or through your church or just a group of people that you get together with. They know what you do for a living, and so you don't have to be selling constantly because nobody wants that. Then you start pushing people away. You just have key stats in your mind that you can tell somebody. If they ask you, hey, how's the market going? You should be able to say something more than, oh, it's a little slow, it's November. You should have a little more meat to that, right?
So when I talk to a new broker and they go, well, what's that look like? I usually get a calendar out and I say, okay, here's what your schedule should look like. And I'll just give you anecdotally what a new broker's schedule should look like right now in November 2025. If you're brand new, you just signed in, you've gone through training,
Right.
You've got them all ready to go. They've got all the knowledge to write a purchase and sale, to write a listing agreement, to price property, and to talk about marketing. So now they're ready to deal with the public, right?
Yep.
So at least 3 open houses a week, 2 hours each.
Well, wait a minute. You want me to work 6 hours a week?
That's 6 hours.
Oh, boy.
Not 4 hours each, not 5 hours
okay.
each. 2 hours
All right.
is the time.
Can I do longer if I want to?
I would not suggest it. We want to cover more territory, right?
Okay.
So 2 hours is the number.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. It just seems like that's, it used to be that people would have to go into the newspaper, find out when the open is, and then they'd have a little window, right? Now people can find it on the internet. They know when the open house is, when it's going to end. And if they can't get there in 2 hours, then, they'll have another chance.
Well, maybe they'll call you and see if they can schedule a showing appointment.
Call me,
right?
which is even better,
sure.
right? So 2 hours, 3 open houses a week, a minimum of at least 6 A-boards leading people into the open house. 10 is better.
Yeah. The more signs, the better.
The more signs.
If you're new to real estate, the A boards are the big sandwich boards you see out on the sidewalk that says open house this way.
Yeah.
And so if you own 6 signs, you're always going to wish you had a 7th to go on that one corner right there.
right.
Wouldn't that be great? You have this philosophy: every time you have a closing, you buy 2 or 3 more signs. You just build up an inventory, because every now and then you'll have use for them. And
Right.
if you're doing more than one open house in a day, maybe you're doing a second open house, then it's nice to have those backup signs that you can
Absolutely.
do.
Yeah, I learned that from you. I think one sales meeting, you brought in a video
Yeah.
of a gentleman that I think has 20 A-boards.
28 boards, yeah.
For open, just a power broker, right? And he puts them out, and I immediately glommed onto that. I didn't get quite up to 20. I got to 10.
Yeah.
And the first time, literally the first time I got 10 A-boards out, I had people come to an open house that had no intention of going there. They just followed my signs in.
Yeah.
They became a seller and a buyer that year, within
Yeah.
a few months, actually. Just because they found me with the A-board. So also it creates a sort of an action environment around your name. Your name is going to be on every corner, several times a week in your market area. So that, people are driving by and going, geez, Al's everywhere.
Always working, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the kind of broker we'd like to hire when we get ready.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
You're planting those little seeds. And by the way, if you're doing open houses, this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Show up early. Don't leave early.
Yes.
Just assume that your client is sitting in the neighbor's house across the street watching everything you do.
Because they usually are.
Because they usually are. That's what that little Ring doorbell is for, right?
Yeah.
So just be professional when you're at the open house. Show up early. Put a smile on your face. If you brought a box of coffee with you from Starbucks, that's good.
Yeah. And this stuff we teach you, right? We teach you this during your training.
And there's ways you can work the neighborhood the day before, so you can build up the anticipation of the open house. The goal should be, of the 6 open houses in this neighborhood this Saturday, who's got the best one?
Right.
Why not yours?
Who's putting the most
Why not
energy
yours?
into it?
Yep.
Who has the best listing? There's lots of nuances to this that we teach you, right? You just kind of briefly mentioned there are things you can do in the neighborhood.
Right.
These are the things you learn in your training, right?
Yeah.
And as well as just how to conduct a good open house, how to talk to people at an open house.
Yeah.
And it's all important. These are all little nuances that you're going to pick up.
And that ties into one of the other pillars, which you mentioned earlier.
Oh, and I'm not done yet.
Oh, not? Okay, all right.
We're only on 3 open houses.
3. Oh, that's right. We
That's-
have more. We're
that's-
doing the schedule.
This is your
Okay.
week.
All right, gotcha.
Right?
Okay. Darn, I'm going to have to work
sorry.
more than 6 hours.
We're
Okay.
gonna go a little long with
All
this,
right.
but this is important,
Absolutely.
right? So you're doing 3 open houses. You also need to come in the office every day, or put on your clothes if you're working from home, and sit at your computer. Pull up. What do you think I'm going to say?
I think you're going to probably want to know what happened last night when you were sleeping.
Right.
What's new about the market today?
Yeah. So pull up what we call as the hot list.
Yeah.
Everything that is new, it has prices changed, has come back on the market, has gone pending, has sold and closed. I want to know what's going on with all of those things in the market that I work in,
Right.
which nowadays is a lot of, it's vast, it's a lot bigger, but there's areas that we specialize in that I really want to focus on.
I think of all the technology tools that we have these days, how easy it really is to just stay plugged into your market.
Yeah.
Compared to, when we first got into business, we would, it was an old DOS-based computer system with one photo of the property,
Right.
and once a week we would get a little mini catalog update from the MLS. Here's your market update. Every Monday, they drop them off at the counter.
Right.
And it's like, wow, this is speedy. So
much different.
If you jump into the technology world, it doesn't have to be fancy. You can do everything you need to do from your phone or your tablet or a
Yes.
laptop.
Yeah.
But getting into the office is critical, because you're also then going to be engaged with other brokers in the office that heard, hey, did you hear that Bob and Mary are thinking about selling their place? Or, hey, what do you think about the old house down on Main Street that just went on the market? Do you think that's priced right?
Right.
You get into those conversations, and it helps increase your awareness of what's going on in the market.
Yeah, I'm an advocate of that. I mean, our offices are set up more as business centers, and there's not private
Right.
spaces, and I think that's just the way they have to be nowadays. But I think that's better because you can hear everything people are talking about.
Right.
You get really in tune quickly with the business. You kind of learn by osmosis a little
Right.
bit, right?
Yeah.
So we've got 3 open houses.
3 open houses.
We've got a daily hot sheet checkup.
Yep.
What I also recommend if you're brand new is go look at every new listing in the market area that you want to work in
Great.
as a preview,
Yes.
right? Because it's one thing when it's on the printout or on the computer. When you go see it in person, it's quite the other, right?
They're all looking good on the computer.
Yeah.
You know, wow.
Right. That's
this
a
is a
glamour shot.
gem.
Yeah.
Let's go see this one. So,
Yeah. So
yeah, that helps you get familiar with the market, and you'll begin to see, okay, this one, gosh, these folks probably didn't know this other house was on the market at $20,000 less because it's a much nicer house,
Yeah.
right? You'll know these things, and then you get a random person that walks up to you, and they know you're in real estate, and they say, hey, did you see that little yellow house just went on the market? And you'll see, oh, yeah, it's down on Main Street. It's for $469. Have you seen inside of it? You know, so you start a conversation.
And you're on to something there. I always tell people, you know one when you see one. You know somebody that really knows their stuff when you start talking to them.
Right.
And so if I trip upon your open house with all your A boards out, and I come in and I start asking questions, and you're like, oh, yeah, I saw that one. It's the one with the brown carpet and the.
Right.
I'm instantly going to not be concerned about your market knowledge.
Right.
So as a new broker that might be a little nervous about being new, that's another way to overcome any possible competition is just to know your market.
Yeah, and that's your edge as a new broker. You have time to learn your market and to study it and to write down notes about things and go look at property, especially if you don't have any clients yet.
Yeah.
Go get out there and go look at all the inventory that's out there, schedule your showings, get familiar with that whole process. Because imagine this, imagine if you meet somebody and they want to go see a house you've already toured. You already feel more confident because you've already been through this house. You know what it has, and you know that there's a barn door in the back, you know, at the barn, and all. You don't know, you know all those details, and you're engaged. And I guarantee you, there are people in your office that aren't going to take those extra steps because they're starting to get lazy. Right?
Either that,
That's
or
your edge.
they're real busy showing the people a property outside of that market area, and they didn't have time to do all of that.
Right.
Work up ahead, right?
Yeah.
So you can really distinguish yourself that way.
Absolutely.
So we got 3 open houses. We got a ton of A boards out. Now we know our market cold because we're out previewing. We're pulling up the daily hot sheet.
Right.
What else do you think we need to do?
Well, you're coming in the office.
You're coming in the office. You're absorbing. You're coming to the meetings if your office has meetings, because that's where you learn what other brokers are doing and what they're talking about and what's working and not working for them. So that's your weekly touchstone you should always do if your office has a meeting.
Yep.
And then there's a couple more things that I think are really important. You got to get yourself into either things that you like to do as activities or work in your community, right? And do things for your community all the time, not being a secret about who you are. You're a real estate broker, right? You're not there to push your business, but you also, just like everybody else, people are curious about what you do.
Sure.
So just don't be a secret about it. And there's easy ways to do that, to not be to be pushy.
Right.
You know?
Nobody likes to be sold, and so the things that we described about the schedule and what a good schedule would look like, there's still a lot of holes, a lot of gaps in a schedule like that, and you could fill that with just constantly learning, and looking for ways to involve yourself in your community with your groups, and like you just said, don't be a secret about that. Now don't push, don't sell. Nobody wants that. Hey, you thinking about buying and selling? Hey, you thinking about buying and selling? Pretty soon you're not being asked to oatmeal.
To the party.
Oatmeal
He's going to talk
breakfast.
real estate again.
Here comes Al. Oh gosh, plug your ears, folks.
But you're right. People are always curious about real estate and what's going on in the market. You just have to be ready for that, and they have to know that you're in the business.
Right.
That's all we're getting to.
And then you have to know what you're going to say when that question does come up. In the meantime, you should be thinking about how can I help this community? How can I help this group rather than what can I get out of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's when you'll start finding more enjoyment about it too.
In our last podcast when we talked with Petro, that is the way he approaches his business. He's coming from a place of service. I'm here to help people, and sometimes it doesn't mean that it directly correlates to a transaction.
Yeah.
It might mean that I helped somebody find a job, or I might refer somebody to a good contractor that can help them out of a jam with their plumbing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's where we all need to come from. And I think that we have better results just in general in life if we just come from that place.
I'll never forget when he said that, he looks at it as he knows how much better their life's going to be when they own a home.
Yeah.
And so he wants to help them get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's certainly not chasing the dollars, and he's not looking to just be busy. He's
Right.
truly trying to help somebody.
Yeah.
And that's one of the great rewards of this business.
It is.
When you, regardless of how rocky the transaction might have been, it might have been a little bit of a roller coaster. When you hand your clients their new keys to their new house,
It's the greatest.
even the toughest, gruffest person in the world will start biting their lip a little
Yeah.
bit and try not
I
to
know
choke
you've-
up.
you've
It's-
witnessed that.
Yeah, it's a great moment.
Yeah.
And knowing that you just helped them with this next chapter of their life.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of things that feel better than that.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
great.
they did all the heavy lifting. They got the finances in order. They worked all their lives to get there. But if we can make that a big moment for them and help facilitate that, that's the greatest feeling ever.
Absolutely.
You know, so the key component then, as far as getting out in front of people, the next pillar is you have to figure out a way to not be a secret agent.
Right.
And we talk about that all the time, right? Don't be a secret agent. So you're doing all this stuff. You've gotten your license. You're doing 3 open houses a week. You're coming in every day. You're pulling the hot sheet. You're previewing properties. You're meeting new people through clubs or community organizations that you want to help. But if you're a secret about what you do and who you are, then it's not going to help your business.
Right. Yeah, and this is an easy industry to hide in. You
Yeah.
can sit on a computer in a dark room all day long and look at houses, and it kind of feels like you're working. It kind of feels like, oh gosh, okay, now I know how much that little yellow house is. If you don't get out of that little dark room and get off that computer and go out and see things for real, you're missing a key component to this industry. It's so easy to hide, and it just feels like you're busy, but you're not really engaging with people. It's showing properties to potential buyers, sitting in front of sellers who are thinking about selling their home and talking about what you would do to list their home. It's about you having your paperwork preparedness so you can manage your transactions when they're in escrow, and everything else that we do. And it's about following up on your database, of course, and building that database. Everything else that we do is preparation for one of those things. And so it's so easy to get caught up in, I need to go study this form a little bit more. Go out there and do an open house. Study the form when no one's in the open house. At least you're still engaged in the business, right? And and here's the thing about real estate. No one's standing over your shoulder telling you to do these things. You're a self-employed, independent business person. You've just carved out a career now, and you're self-employed. A lot of people don't make that adjustment real easily because they're used to the grind of the daily, got to do this by 11 kind of thing.
And most of us don't want a heavy accountability situation
Right.
where we do have somebody standing over our shoulder. That's not our style.
Right.
We're a meet you where you're at
Yeah,
kind of.
exactly.
We'll help you do whatever you want to do, but you got to tell us
Yep.
what do you need besides the basics that we're going to get you.
Yeah.
What else do you need to make your business thrive? So we've kind of merged a few of our pillars into each other, but as far as not being a secret, the easiest thing to do, first and foremost, is just wear some company logo.
Sure.
It sounds so dumb, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It's like, wear a shirt that says John L. Scott.
If you have
Right.
you have the name of your company on your shirt, and you're standing in a grocery store, you're waiting to check out, right? Go stand in the longest line, not the shortest one.
Right.
And I guarantee you, before you get checked out, someone's going to ask you, "How's the market?"
Now, I always end up in the shortest line, and it takes the longest amount of time. So
That's because grocery stores have a little trick now.
Is that a
They
trick?
put the slowest checkout people on the fast lines.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Okay.
they're always
was wondering about
bandaged up. They're like little T-Rexes sliding my corn across the thing. Yeah, and I'm always behind the person after they get their total. They then reach in their purse and look for their checkbook.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's,
and then they want to look at their receipt too to make sure they weren't double charged for the corn.
that's just a little mini rant, non-real estate related that we thought we'd share for the holidays.
I mean, there's so many. So that's an easy thing to do. We frequently get stuff branded, but people can do it themselves as well and wear whatever you want as long as you have the appropriate logo on your stuff. But that creates conversation.
Yep.
And that's all we're trying to do is create conversation so that we can maybe strike up a rapport with somebody, right?
You'd be amazed. Again,
Not
we're
everybody.
we're in an industry where everybody loves to talk about. They love to talk about real estate, and so just that can be a simple thing to do too.
Yeah. And the next thing, back in the day, we used to have to spend thousands of dollars a week to advertise our inventory in the newspaper. Mm-hmm. And it was very expensive and not highly effective.
Nope.
Nowadays, we have this thing. It's called the World Wide Web.
Oh, the interwebs. Yeah.
And you can advertise on there, and guess how much it costs, Alan?
Is it a lot?
It's free.
Oh, wow.
Can you believe that?
How about that?
You know, I guess I'm being kind of a smartass, but we have so many folks that resist using social media for their business, and I hate to tell you, I've just started saying it straight up. If you don't advertise yourself or display your listings or talk about your business on social media, you might as well not get in the business.
Yeah, this is a sales and marketing profession.
Yeah.
When you cut to chase. Sales and marketing. Sales is convincing and marketing is attracting. Yeah. How are you attracting business into your world? And so if you don't take advantage of the social media platforms that are out there, you're really missing the boat. And you don't have to be on camera. You can just be promoting your properties that you have listed. You could just be promoting the open house that you're hosting. You could just be promoting the properties that you think are a hot smoking deal in your market.
Yeah.
You could say, hey, there's a new cafe that just opened in town. It's called Bob's Diner. You got to check this place out. They've got best hash browns in the world.
You can promote other people. You don't have to, like you said, it doesn't have to be about you at all. As a matter of fact, just the opposite.
Right.
And a lot of people need to just kind of embrace it, right? Yep. And I can't tell you how many folks are like, I don't do social media. And I'm like, well, you're dead in the water.
Right.
Don't start this business.
This is 2025.
Let's just be honest.
Almost 2026 now.
Yeah. And do you think that we, all the time really need to want to do that all the time? No. But we do, right? Because it's important for our business to be active there.
Again, we want them to remember how to get a hold of us if they choose to do so.
Yeah.
So we can't hide.
Exactly. So also just marketing yourself. Somebody like Petro, who hands out, and I'm using him as an example because he's just so great at it. He hands out 50 to 100 business cards a week.
Yeah.
And he's not shy about it.
Right.
People can throw them away if they want, but some people will need that contact.
Yeah, I'm reminded of a person in one of our classes. This is well over 20 years ago. They got their business cards, and I said, okay, now the goal. The goal is to get them all handed out in the first month. And he looked right in the eye, and he said, gosh, you know how expensive these are? And I thought, okay. This person doesn't get it. So okay, let's wind up a little bit here. Let's look at this from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, and we've sort of melded into knowing your market inside and out, but let's just go back over that for a new agent so we can concisely put it in one blurb. Yep. So you need to tour everything in your market area, right? Mm-hmm. And so we typically kind of tend to work around where we live. So at least know the stuff around where you live or wherever you're doing open houses. Right. So you got to know that cold. Mm-hmm. You got to study neighborhoods. You got to know the amenities, the school districts.
Right.
These are basic things.
Yep.
Community features, You need to know the average sale prices. Al, we talk about market stats all the time.
All the time.
Because people are very curious about that.
And they're changing, they change all the time. So you just need to have a rolling snapshot of what the market's been doing and how are we comparing to last year this time, or just a few months ago, what was it looking like? So having that knowledge, it's really just a handful of things you need, but checking the market every day. One of the things that I like to do, if I'm watching a particular segment of my market, is I'll set myself up as a potential client in our searching database through the MLS. And every time something hits on the market or changes status in the market in that category, I get notified by email immediately. So I don't have to chase that knowledge. It's coming to me. So there's ways you can use these tools to make your life a little less friction, but still keep up on what you're trying to track.
Right. So we don't want to beat this horse too much more, but got to know the market, right?
Got to know the market.
Big deal. And the last thing is maybe something that we've seen a lot of, especially this last year. Not the easiest real estate market year ever. As a new broker, I don't know, Al, what would you rather be, a new broker in a slower market or a new broker when if you got a buyer, you would have to write up 10 offers?
Well, being in a slower market gives you a lot of advantages because you have time to learn your craft, you have time to get good at what you're doing, and you're learning in a tougher environment so that it's hardening you, it's making you more resilient, if you will. If you are, I feel bad for agents that jumped into the business during COVID because it was so frantic, and they never had a chance to learn how to handle a non-frantic market, and they learned all these bad habits about just offer 70,000 over asking price. That's what we got to do, right? So every market has its own unique rules and dynamics and stuff, but just having the ability to learn your craft and not being so constantly pulled in every direction, I think, is the market I would rather be in.
Yeah, I kind of I'm an advocate for that too. I think in a slower market, if you can learn to operate in a slower market when it picks up, you're going to be all the more better for that. And we've seen that over the years. And also, I don't know, if you get a buyer right now, you're going to have a good chance of getting them locked onto a property that they want,
right?
As opposed to, making 10 offers, literally making 10 offers.
Sure, yeah. So we've all been through all those markets if you've been doing this for any length of time. But, take a look at the market that you're in right now and say, okay, how can I get better at what I'm doing in these market conditions? Right. And right now, this is a great time because this is a time where you can focus working, as we said at the beginning, you can focus working on your business as much as in your business, right?
So I'm saying all that about the slow market versus the fast market to talk about this last pillar, which is you can't get stuck in preparation mode full time. We see a lot of brokers that just kind of are unsure, and so they continue to take classes or just kind of hang out in the office. They're not doing their weekly schedule.
Right.
We've had some really smart, good people that just couldn't get out of that mode and get into the action, the proactive prospecting mode.
Right.
And you can't stay in preparation mode. You have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, I understand where they're coming from.
Absolutely.
I understand that they don't want to make a mistake, and that's great. But you really have to engage. You really don't learn how to hit a baseball until you start swinging the bat. Yeah. You can analyze it on film all you want. You can take classes and you can study it, but until you start swinging the bat, you're not going to get any better at hitting the baseball. So that's just a lame sports analogy, but
for sure. Like, when do you learn how to write up a purchase and sale agreement better? When you do a mock purchase and sale in your training class, or when you have a customer?
Yeah. So the one you'll remember is when you have a real live breathing person. Yeah. That's the one that matters. So what we try to do is give you multiple mock setup scenarios so that you're ready for that moment when it hits. Because You know, a lot of the stuff that we're learning when it comes to contracts and paperwork, you don't really remember it until you need it, and then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, geez, where was that clause at, right? So
I always kind of refer to that as like being in the passenger seat when somebody else is driving. You kind of know you're going to your point of destination, but you're not really sure how you got there.
right.
You know, it's the same with just all the training.
Yeah.
You got to get in the driver's seat at some point and drive the car.
And you'll be bombarded with the programs of the month. You know, this is
Yeah.
the newest, greatest lead generating platform ever invented in the history of mankind.
And every loan officer wants to take you to lunch,
Yep,
and
yep.
every title, and they're great. I love all of our
Classes after classes. Oh, these are free. You can
Yeah.
go, come here, have some pizza, take a class. It's so easy to feel like that's work. That's not work.
It's not work. You got to get into these proactive action modes that we were
Yep.
just talking about.
And then you sprinkle some of those little classes around the edges when you
Yeah.
when you want to learn something that you specifically want to learn. But it's very easy to hide in classes and seminars and signing up for all
Yeah.
these programs and stuff. And really, what you need to do is just get out there, meet some people, and get going.
Yeah. So this isn't on our script, and I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm putting myself on the spot because I just thought about this. Over the last 30 years, is there anything, when you think back about all the people that we've had the good fortune to work with, is there any one or two or three things in common with people that end up being successful in the business that you can think of?
I would say that they took what they were doing. I don't know if serious is the right word or not, because we have as much fun as anybody. When
Yeah.
I'm not serious by nature, but
Yeah.
they take what they're doing seriously, and they want to get better. They have this thing that how can I improve this? How can I get
Right.
better at this? How can I support my family? Maybe like for me, this is all I do. This is I don't have a safety net of all these other things going on.
Right.
So I'm always looking at how I can improve even these days. But it's also interesting to me that there's been many times where I've kind of said to myself, I'm not so sure about Fred over there.
Yeah.
And then he just kills it out of the
Right.
park, right?
Yeah.
We've had some people that came in, they were really, really young, and I thought, oh gosh, this is going to be a tough row. No, boom, they take off. And then we've had other people that have come in that just look like, the perfect stereotypical real estate broker that's just
They're gonna
dialed
kill it.
in.
Yeah, you think they're going to kill it.
And they don't do anything.
Yeah.
And so there's an internal motivation there that it's hard to read on other people, but that's a key part of it. I think what I would do is if I were meeting somebody today, I would ask them, everybody says they want to get into real estate,
Yeah.
right? Nobody says they want to get into dentistry, but they want to get into
Maybe
real
I do.
estate, right?
I would like to get into dentistry now.
Yeah, maybe that's second career.
Is it too late for me?
No, never
Okay.
too late. But I think I would ask them, why do you want to get into real estate? Is it because the TV shows make it look like you're going to make a ton of money and all you
Yeah.
have to do is, dress fancy and drive a convertible and yell at your clients? Is that your impression of real estate? Why do you want to get into real estate? If it's to make money, okay, that's fine. But what else? Maybe helping people buy and sell and move to the next chapter of their life, you'll find to be more rewarding than anything. And so that internal motivation, I think, is if you're just a hobbyist, what we call a dabbler, this is a tough business to do full time, let alone as a dabbler.
Remember Jim Petrelli, Jim, if you're out there.
Yeah.
Used to call them coffee patrollers.
Coffee patrollers. Yeah,
That was back in the old days. He was a very well-known sales trainer
Yep.
for a long time, and Micah too.
Yep.
Remember him?
Yep.
Yeah, we're going back. So that's part of your one of the things that you recognize.
Yeah. So now
Yeah,
I don't prejudge anybody.
Yeah.
Wherever they're coming from. Okay, let's get you going, and we'll work it out. And I'm hoping I'll learn something from them that they're bringing to the table too, because we all come from different walks, of life, and
Right.
now we're all in the same office. So there's strengths and skills that all kinds of people have.
I've had that same thing happen too, where folks would come in, and I'm like, I'm not sure if they're going to make it, and then they proved me wrong.
Right.
So, I'm the same way. I think everyone gets a chance.
Yeah.
And we put as much as we can into them. And usually, if they give an effort back, it encourages us to give more effort toward. If you never show up, we can't do anything with you.
Right.
Yeah. So keep that in mind. But the one thing I really like to tell people is just keep going.
Yeah.
A lot of times we want to quit things, right? This is a hard business.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy to get started. I just signed somebody out who was very promising, very smart, but it's a money thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't survive forever without making an income.
Right.
So that's the big barrier in our business is people drop out because they got to make a living, and it's so hard to get started that you might not see any paycheck for a while.
Right.
So that's a heartbreaking part for me is to watch that.
Yeah.
When I just know that this person would be an excellent broker and would do a lot of good things for people and would be quality as far as a level of service that they would provide.
Yeah.
And so when I see that happen, it's a shame.
Yeah.
And so I just try to tell people especially when they're signing in and we got stars in our eyes, this is hard. You got to keep going. You got to have the tenacity to stay in it, right?
Yeah, I think that probably tenacity and grit are the big words there. That just stick to it.
I tell my kids that too. Riley, who's producing our podcast, is doing great in his career now, but at first it's a little dicey, right? Right?
Yep.
He's giving me a thumbs up.
Yep.
It takes time, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, after a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
You start getting a lot of business.
Overnight success.
Yeah, overnight success. You hear that all the time. It never happens overnight.
Right.
Our business is no exception.
Yep.
So, anything else you can think of?
No, I hope this helps. If you're on the fence or you're thinking about doing something different, sometimes you throw your hat over the fence and you go, you jump.
Yeah.
And you just land with both feet and hit the ground running.
I think if that's the overriding message of all the things we've talked about, is that you have to put yourself out there and go for it.
There's an old saying in real estate and in life that anything worth doing is worth doing wrong until you get it right.
Right.
So you're going to make mistakes. Just embrace those. That's what we're here for, to help mitigate those. But you're going to make mistakes, and so just jump in and enjoy it. You're starting a new chapter of your life too.
Kind of the story of my life, Al. I've done a lot of things wrong and a few things right.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it goes, right?
That's called life.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right.
Happy holidays.
All right. Happy holidays to you.